So Blackmagic just made the announcement of the Pocket 6K Pro. Some people love it, some people are slightly disappointed by it. So let's talk about what I think about the new Pocket 6K Pro and if I'm going to buy it, potentially sell my Pocket 4K, or if you're a Pocket 4K or 6K owner, should you be selling your current camera to buy this one? So let's talk about it a little bit. So let's run through some of the upgrades of the Pocket 6K Pro. First, we have a whole new body style. Well, kind of. It's more like a squished version of the 6K and how it's presented now. It's still very much a DSLR style body, which I know is a huge disappointment for some people. They wanted more of the box or cube style, which is very much big right now. And so not really seeing that was a disappointment for some people. I personally am okay with that DSLR style, but I will be honest, I would have preferred if there was more of a cube style. I was really hoping they were gonna take the old like micro body and make an update to that for this new camera. Even if it's not like a 6K Pro, but maybe like a 4K Mark II and put it in that cube style. That would have been really awesome. So we have an upgrade in the body style, and with that upgrade, there's a few other things that came along with that as well. One thing that came with this change is a huge upgrade in my opinion, and that is the fact this now comes with built-in NDs. What? Having built-in NDs. We look at cameras like the C70 or maybe even the new announcement of the NX3, and both of those don't really have built-in NDs. The fact that this has built-in NDs is a huge benefit to me. I'll be honest, I've been looking for a camera to upgrade to that has built-in NDs because I'm just tired of dealing with screw-on NDs. The other big thing is that now the screen does tilt. We've said for years that if the Pocket 4K screen or the Pocket 6K screen tilted, it would be a game changer. And now it tilts, and that is amazing. And so that is another kind of big pro for me, is the fact that you can have a tilting screen. So really, you don't necessarily need an external monitor now to film with this camera. So I'm already starting to see a demographic this camera caters to, and that is a run and gun documentary style filmmaker. Now it doesn't have IBIS, but you get a good stabilized lens, and this really sets the bar with that. A part of that is another upgrade is now there are 2 XLR ports, and I still think they're mini XLR ports, but there's 2 of them. And so you can plug directly into the Pocket 6K Pro with 2 XLR microphones at this point. So that's another reason why this is really good for documentary filmmakers if they're needing to mic 2 talents, or potentially even just general indie filmmakers as a whole when they are trying to mic 2 different talents at the same time. They can run all that audio straight in the camera, which is amazing. Now I will be curious on the preamps on the Pocket 6K Pro. I know with the Pocket 4K and 6K, people weren't really impressed with the preamps on it, so I'd be interested to see how they perform on the Pocket 6K Pro, but the fact there's another XLR port on this camera is a nice feature as well. If you haven't caught on to the trend, the Pocket 6K Pro was a huge kind of like body upgrade. And so a part of that body upgrade is now, instead of using LPE6 batteries, they're using NPF 550 batteries, which I don't know if that's going to create a longer battery life. It's definitely longer than the LPE6, but I don't know by how much. This is where a lot of people wish they would have gone with a cube style form of the camera, because even if you stuck with NPF with a cube style body, you could potentially get one of the bigger NPF batteries, which of course would make for longer battery life. But they did upgrade the Blackmagic grip for the Pocket 6K Pro. You can now have 2 NPF batteries alongside the NPF battery that's in the camera as well. I think I saw somewhere they're predicting about 3 hours of total battery life if you use the grip. So still not amazing, but it is an upgrade from the LPE6 batteries. Another cool upgrade is they're giving you an optional EVF for the camera. And so that's a nice little feature if you want a little bit more clear picture, maybe in direct sunlight or something like that, or maybe a well-lit area where it's a little bit harder to see the monitor. You can actually buy a detachable EVF. This just gives you the ability to put the EVF on the top of the camera to use that for additional monitoring as well. So not everything was hardware related. Software-wise, you will be able to shoot in the Blackmagic Gen 5 color space, which is awesome. I actually saw a video this past week how you can use the Gen 5 color space in post for the Pocket 4K or 6K, and this will be included in the 6K Pro. But this is also where it's awesome for Pocket 4K or current 6K owners, is that will also be available with a free software upgrade coming in the near future. So with all these upgrades, how much is the Pocket 6K Pro? This is where I got nervous. I was waiting for that price tag to drop, thinking Builtin NDs, multiple XLR ports, a tilting screen, maybe sure, there's not that cube style, but all these different upgrades are happening. I'm thinking easily $4,000. They are launching this camera for $2,500. What? Like, Blackmagic just said, hey C70, hey potential FX3, you know, we see what you're doing, let's up you one. We're gonna include a lot of the features that you include, maybe even more, and we're gonna offer it for a fraction of the cost. And this is where I wanna talk about my general thoughts on this camera. My first thought that I wanna tell you is that I'm currently waiting for B&H to make this available so I can buy this camera. I have already been considering updating the 4K to maybe a 6K, and this is the path I'm gonna go instead. I am super excited about the camera. I love this camera. I think it's a great tool for indie filmmakers. I think it's a great tool for documentary filmmakers. Yes, there's not IBIS like the GH5 has or anything like that, but if you can use a stabilized lens, honestly, you make up for that lack of stabilization. And on top of that, you have the Builtin NDs, you have the tilting screen. It is really going to make it to where you don't necessarily have to rig up the camera to get all the functionality that you would with something like the Pocket 4K or 6K, where you normally would feel like you needed to rig up the camera. So this kind of alleviates the need for a rig. Now I will say the only thing that may change that is if the battery life just sucks. If it sucks, you may still need a battery solution, but outside of that, I think a lot of the things that got updated, again, kind of relieve that need for a rig. So to be clear, this may not be the perfect camera. I don't think that the perfect camera exists. I think if you're looking at something at a certain price point, this fits a lot of what you may be looking for and checks off those check boxes. Honestly, I don't know if I would have paid $4,000 if it had a mirrorless mount or if it had a cube style body. Having it be $2,500 for what it is, to me, is the perfect camera for indie filmmakers. Just having a cinema camera with all these different qualities and all these different features, hands down, is just amazing. And so again, I know that the reactions have been divided. I personally am super hype on this camera and will be purchasing, will be ordering. I don't think you're even pre-ordering at this point. I think it's just available. So I will be ordering this camera. So if you're interested in seeing footage from this camera, subscribe to the channel unless my sale doesn't go through, and then I'm sorry and I'll retract that statement. So that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a little bit more of a different video. I want to give you more of a reaction, so there's less B-roll and things like that. So thank you guys for sticking around. If you do want to discuss your thoughts on this camera, I will be doing a live stream later tonight with Driven Films on Instagram. So check out my Instagram, check out Driven Films Instagram. I'll leave a link in the description below. Check it out because we're going to be doing a kind of like a collaboration live stream later tonight to give our general thoughts, and you guys are more than welcome to join in that discussion. As always, thank you guys for joining. Go and find your journey, go embrace life, stay safe, be happy, support each other, wash those hands, and I'll see you here next time. Peace.